Welcome back to your own channel where we break down crypto in a simple and honest way. Today's topic is XRP, and I know whenever I mention XRP, many of you get excited, while some of you feel tired. Because for a long time, XRP has given us only one thing: sideways movement, confusion, and the question of when it will finally move. But today's video is different. Because something is appearing on the charts that we haven't seen in months. A bearish pattern that was holding XRP down has now flipped, and a large number of analysts are now targeting $11. So make sure you watch this video till the end, because I will explain the current price situation. I will break down what bearish patterns existed and how they flipped. I will explain what technical indicators are saying. I will cover the fundamentals, and I will give you realistic targets, including that $11 number. Let's start with the current situation. As of May 2026, XRP is trading around the $1.4 range. Some exchanges show prices closer to $2.27 due to volatility. But the key point is that XRP has been stuck in a tight range between $1.3 and $1.45. This range has been holding since February 2026. That means months of sideways movement, completely stuck. Now you might be thinking this sounds bearish, so why are we excited? Here is something many people miss: consolidation means compression, and compression leads to explosion. When the market trades in a tight range, volume drops, volatility disappears, and this usually sets up a big move. The only question is the direction of that move. Right now, the charts are suggesting one direction, and that direction is up. Now let's understand the bearish patterns that existed before. The first pattern was a bearish pennant. In early 2026, XRP formed a classic bearish pennant. This happens when price drops sharply and then compresses into a triangle. Traders usually expect a breakdown to the downside from this pattern. At that time, the concern was valid. XRP had already dropped around 42% from its yearly high of $2.41. On the weekly chart, lower highs were forming. Bears were clearly in control. The second bearish signal was the Ichimoku Cloud. XRP was trading below the cloud. When an asset is below the cloud on the weekly timeframe, it is considered bearish. XRP kept getting rejected at the lower edge of the cloud around $1.45. This rejection happened multiple times. Buyers pushed the price up, but sellers pushed it right back down. The third bearish signal was the death cross. The 50-day moving average crossed below the 200-day moving average. This is a classic bearish signal. Along with that, price was moving inside a descending channel. Overall, the structure looked weak and negative, but then things started to change. Trend reversals do not happen instantly, they build slowly, and then suddenly the market surprises everyone. The first clue of reversal is higher lows. In a bearish trend, price forms lower highs and lower lows. But now XRP is forming higher lows on lower timeframes. This means buyers are becoming more confident, they are buying dips, they are supporting the price. The second clue is volume. When XRP moved above $1.4, the move came with strong volume. Breakouts with low volume are usually fake. Breakouts with high volume are more reliable. One move from $1.384 to $1.4065 came with a sharp volume spike. That is a strong signal of real interest. The third clue is a cup and handle formation. This is a bullish pattern. XRP formed a rounded bottom from mid-March. Price moved from around $1.25 to near $1.5. After that, it formed a small consolidation which acts as the handle. If price breaks above $1.5, the next target becomes $1.65 to $1.7, and that would only be the beginning. The fourth clue is weakening sellers. Every upward move is being sold, but every pullback is becoming smaller. This shows that sellers are losing strength, and when sellers get exhausted, buyers take control. The fifth clue is exchange outflows. In April 2026, around 35 million XRP left exchanges in a single day. This suggests that investors are moving coins to hold, not to sell. This reduces supply in the market, and lower supply can push prices higher. Now let's move to the technical indicators, starting with RSI, which is the relative strength index. RSI is currently around 41. This is considered a neutral to slightly bearish zone. But there is an important detail here. RSI is trying to break out of a descending trendline. If that breakout happens, it will signal a shift in momentum. On the 3-day timeframe, RSI has already bounced from its lowest levels. Historically, this has been a signal before major rallies in XRP. Now let's talk about MACD. On the weekly chart, MACD has printed 3 green bars. It is also curling toward a bullish crossover. On the daily chart, the histogram is shrinking. This means bearish momentum is fading. It has not fully reversed yet, but the direction is changing. Moving averages are giving mixed signals. XRP is currently trading near both the 50-day and 200-day moving averages. On the weekly timeframe, the 200-day moving average has been above price since July 2025. This still supports a long-term bullish structure. Now coming back to the Ichimoku Cloud. Earlier this cloud was acting as strong resistance. Now XRP is pushing against its lower edge. If XRP closes a weekly candle above $1.67, the breakout will be confirmed. Historically, when XRP broke the cloud in June 2025, it rallied 65% in just 3 weeks. Price reached around $3.65 during that move. This kind of setup is forming again. However, there is one warning signal. The NVT ratio recently spiked above 1,000. This suggests that price may be moving faster than on-chain activity that can lead to short-term corrections. So confirmation is very important before getting overly bullish. Now let's talk about fundamentals. One of the biggest factors holding XRP back was the SEC lawsuit. Back in December 2020, the SEC filed a case against Ripple. They claimed that XRP was an unregistered security. This caused exchanges to delist XRP institutional. Adoption slowed down, and price remained suppressed for years. But in August 2025, the case was settled. The settlement was around $125 million. Courts clarified that XRP trading on secondary markets is not a security transaction. This was a major win for XRP holders. Now the next big development is the Clarity Act. This is a bipartisan bill. It aims to turn court rulings into permanent federal law. The House of Representatives already approved it in July 2025. Now it is under review in the Senate. If this bill passes, it could remove legal uncertainty completely. That would open the door for institutional investment. Another major factor is spot XRP ETFs. These ETFs launched in November 2025. So far, they have attracted over $1 billion in inflows. April 2026 alone saw strong inflows. This shows that institutions are taking XRP seriously. Ripple's network is also expanding. Over 300 financial institutions are connected to RippleNet. The global remittance market is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. XRP is aiming to capture a share of this market. In 2026, the focus is shifting from pilot programs to large-scale adoption. Macroeconomic conditions are also important. Expectations of interest rate cuts can bring liquidity into markets. When liquidity increases, risk assets like crypto usually benefit. Now let's address the big question: can XRP really reach $11? Some analysts believe it can. One analyst using Elliott wave theory has given an average target of around $11.75. Other projections vary between $5 and $18 depending on the model used. A major bank has also given long-term targets. Their estimate suggests XRP could reach around $8 by the end of 2026, and potentially higher in the following years. According to Elliott wave theory, wave 3 is usually the strongest move. If XRP closes above the 1.8 to 2.0 range on a weekly basis, that wave could begin. Historically, such waves can produce massive gains. Right now, XRP is in a key zone between 1.46 and 1.8. This is where bulls and bears are fighting for control. From a market cap perspective, $11 would mean a very large valuation. It is not impossible, but it would require strong conditions. These include regulatory clarity, increased ETF inflows, growth in RippleNet usage, and favorable macroeconomic trends. For 2026, more conservative targets range between $2.5 and $5. A realistic midpoint could be around $3.5 to $4. In a strong bull case, price could reach between $5 and $8. Here are the key levels to watch. The first resistance is around 1.46 to 1.5. A breakout above this level is important. The next level is 1.67, which confirms the cloud breakout. Then comes the 1.8 to 2.0 zone, which could trigger a major rally. Higher resistance levels are between 3.2 and 4.2. Now let's talk about risks. First, the breakout is not confirmed yet. Price has been rejected multiple times near 1.5. Without a strong weekly close above it, the breakout remains uncertain. Second, the NVT ratio suggests a possible correction. This means price may pull back before moving higher. Third, delays in regulation could impact sentiment. If the Clarity Act is delayed, it could act as a negative catalyst. Fourth, competition is increasing. Stablecoins, central bank digital currencies, and upgraded payment systems are all competing in the same space. Fifth, there is a possibility of market exhaustion. Some investors believe that major news events have already been priced in. This could lead to slower growth unless new catalysts appear. Always remember one rule. Never invest all your money into a single asset. Use dollar cost averaging, manage your risk carefully, and only invest what you can afford to lose. Now let's summarize everything. XRP is at a critical turning point. A bearish structure appears to be flipping. After months of sideways movement, bullish signals are emerging. Patterns like cup and handle, higher lows, and volume spikes all point upward. On the fundamental side, major developments are supporting the case. The lawsuit is resolved. ETFs are live. Regulation is evolving, and network adoption is growing. The $11 target is ambitious, but it is not impossible in the long term. In the short term, the key zone is between 1.67 and 2.0. In the medium term, $3.525 is a realistic range, and in a strong bull scenario, higher targets can be achieved. Always remember that charts show potential, not guarantees. Do your own research, and always manage your risk. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like it, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends who are interested in XRP. Let me know in the comments what your target for XRP is. I always read your comments. Take care, and I will see you in the next video.